Well, hello everybody, this is Ugo Capeto with another video showing you how to create depth maps using SPM and DMAG. This time the input is a scan of a 1950s stereo slide, Realist format most likely, and the scan comes from my good friend Ron Labbe, a very well-known slide collector. So this is the slide we have to work with. So here the scan has been very nicely done because it looks aligned. So the chips are on the horizontal, so that's good. So the first thing you do is that you need to separate the left and right chips. So for that we're going to use the rectangle select tool. Let me make sure that I reset the values here. Okay, so it's reset. So we're going to do the left chip first. So what you do is that you make sure that your rectangle gets all the left but doesn't go on to the right. So okay, once you're happy with it, you can crop. But first you have to make sure you remember this number over there, 1017 by 1194, because this is going to be the size of the other one, of the right one. So we keep track of that. 1017 by 1194, which is here. So keep track of that. I'll show you why. So now image crop, and then you export as, and I already done that, image underscore l.jpg. So let's assume you do, but I will cancel. Now we're gonna get the right chip, so I do edit, undo, and what I'm gonna do is that I'm gonna use the rectangle select tool, but this time I'm gonna use a fixed size rectangle, which is in the value you're gonna put is the values that we recorded earlier. So 1017 by 1194. Then you enter, and then here we go, and then you can move it. You just move it, and you don't change the dimensions, and you move it so that you pick up the right side, and then crop to selection, and then file export as this one, the right side. I already done that, so I'm gonna cancel. So once you have that, you can go into StereoPhoto Maker, and we're gonna do that right now. Okay guys, it's me again, and now we are in StereoPhoto Maker. So we're gonna load the left and right chips that we just created. So file, open, left right images, you pick image underscore L, open. It's gonna ask you if underscore R is the right image. You say sure, that's right. Okay, so the first thing you do, go into edit, preferences, adjustment, make sure that this thing is checked. By default it is not checked, so you want it checked because it's gonna get you better alignment, and that's good for everybody. Next. Okay, before I go into that, I just want to make sure that I said that here the size is 1022 by 1196, and basically this is the size I usually work with, so which means that the parameters I'm gonna show and the parameters I'm gonna show I use when I do the depth map, it's tailored to that size. If you have a a bigger image, let's say 2000 by 2000, you may want to use different parameters, and I will show you which parameters are affected by the size of the input. So adjust auto alignment, you have to do that, otherwise it's not going to be good. Auto alignment, click on yes, doesn't take long. Well, usually. Okay, done. So that's good. Now you want to create the depth map. How do you do that? You go to edit, depth map, create depth map from StereoPhoto. So if you have installed a DMAG 5_9 directory, this should pop up. I think I discussed in other videos how to install the DMAG stuff, so please check the other videos, or check Masuji's video that explain that also. Okay, so let me go back. Default setting, click on that to make sure you have the default, because it's the parameters are always saved. First thing you do, get background value, get foreground value. Do not use, and I repeat, do not use get values automatic, because it doesn't work very well. So do it the old-fashioned way, manually. Background. So we're gonna match something in the background using the arrow keys. So let's focus on maybe this area right here. So you just use the arrow keys, and here I'm getting close to, yeah, I'm on the, I don't know what that is, the shades. So get background value, -52. What you can do, because if you're not completely sure that this is the most backgroundy object, you can put -60 instead of -52. You're being more conservative so that you don't miss something. So now we're gonna do the foreground. Foreground, I think the thing that's most in the foreground is the tip of the ciggy she's holding. So let's do that. So I think it's about here. So get foreground value 28. We're gonna be a little bit conservative. We're gonna put, I don't know, let's put 30. Okay, what's next? Maximum image width, don't care. To be safe, put something very large so that SPM doesn't resize. We don't want SPM to resize our StereoPhoto. Next, I like to use white for the front, so I click on that. So those now are the default values. I think those are usually fine for the size of the picture we are dealing with here, which is the width for 1000 pixels. If you have a width of 2000, 3000, 4000, then you may want to change, for instance, the radius, use something larger, and maybe also that one, the sample rate spatial, use something larger than 32. In any case, let's run the default and see what happens as a first step. So let's create the depth map. Yes. So it shouldn't take long. Maybe half a minute. I don't know. Doesn't take that long. So here is DMAG 9B working. DMAG 5 is already done. So this is the result with default values. So let's go into SBS. Yeah, I think it's pretty good. It's pretty good. I mean, I could work with that, but we can change one thing. Okay, so let's, I mean, I would be perfectly happy with that. I can work with that, but for the sake of doing stuff, let's change one parameter. So you do undo, and then go back to create DMAG, create from stereo pair, and I'm gonna change. I think 16 is probably too small, so I'm gonna put 32 and leave everything else the same. DMAG 9B, I think it's fine. Usually what I may change is this one, 32. You may change to 16 or even 8. Lambda controls the smoothing. I think it's fine. So I don't think I would change anything else. On the DMAG 5 side, epsilon controls the smoothness of the depth map obtained by DMAG 5. And the dense sampling factor, you can, if you put 2, it's going to be faster than if you put 1. But if you put 1, it's probably going to be more precise. But if you put 1, you may want to change the disparity tolerance. Put 1 instead of 0. So yeah, so if you put down sampling factor 1, you should probably change the disparity tolerance and put 1 instead of 0. The rest I wouldn't touch it really. So let's run that one. Okay, it's done. Okay, so I think it's slightly better than the other one. It's still not perfect, but I think it's better than the other one. So we're gonna keep that one. So at this point, what we are gonna do is correct this depth map for blatant errors. So edit, depth map, and correct depth map. So I think Masuji did a very good job with this tool. It's very, very practical. The only thing that's missing, in my opinion, is a slider for the opacity of the brush. Because if you have control over the opacity, you have also more control of your shades of gray that you have more control on the shades of gray in the depth map. So I think it would be a nice addition. So I have a slider for opacity. Another option would be to have a burn dodge tool so that you can lighten or darken areas. But I think for Masuji it's probably easier just to add a slider for opacity, and with a brush with variable opacity you can also lighten and darken areas, just like if you had a dodge or burn tool. So I think yeah, I sent a message to Masuji about this. So I told him, yeah, that would be nice to have an opacity slider. He hasn't replied. But I think that if you think the same as I do, you should send him a message on Facebook or send him an email and tell him that yeah, that'd be nice to have a opacity slider on his correct depth map tool. Anyways, let's get cracking on the correction. So what you do is that you press Control, and to pick up a color, you use the right click, but you still have to, you always use Control, you always push Control. So here, I'm just picking colors with the right click of the mouse. So for instance, I'm gonna try to fix the hair. So right click the color, and then I use the left mouse button to actually paint. So here I'm gonna paint. I think it's better if you have a tablet, but you can still do it with the mouse, but it's a bit harder. So right click for picking the color and left click to paint. Very simple. It's very simple. It's a very simple tool, but it's very useful, I gotta say. Well done, Masuji. So here I go wherever there's a mistake. So here the earring. Oops. Here the ear. Very simple. I mean, you're gonna spend maybe 1 minute fixing your on the depth map. I think it's worth it. Here I'm gonna adjust here. Here I'm going fast, but I think you get the idea. So you keep doing this until you're happy with it. You see, like here, it would be nice to have a burnt dodge tool or a variable opacity, because then I could just change the values here to be a little bit darker instead of having to click and repaint. I think you would have more control. Here, getting rid of this stuff here. I think you get the idea. Of course, it's better if you have a tablet. So here I have fixed pretty much everything I think. So yeah, I spent maybe a minute doing this. Yeah, okay, so that, to me, that's good enough. So you close this. I think I'm done here. So at this point, we're gonna save the image and the depth map so that we can post it on our favorite social media outlet, which is Facebook, as a Facebook 3D picture. So you go into, again, edit, depth map, save as Facebook 3D photo 2D plus depth. So image is going to be the name of my image, and image_depth is going to be the name of my depth map. The only thing you have to be careful is that here I have to change to white, because white is front. You save, and Bob is your uncle. You're done. If you go into downloads, now you have image and image_depth. So when you're on Facebook, all you have to do is when you post is you click on image and image_depth, and Facebook is automatically going to create a 3D post. So that's pretty much it. Maybe a few parting words. Let me think. Yes, of course, the quality of the depth map is going to depend on the on your stereo pair. If in the stereo pair there are areas with no texture or repeating texture like on the this woman's dress, it's not very good. Or if you have a slide with a blue sky, that's not good. So you will most likely have to correct it manually. What else? Sometimes I get a lot of flag from Fuji W3 owners. The problem with the Fuji is that sometimes if the subject is too close to the lenses, it's not gonna be easy to get a depth map that's correct. So the Fuji has an interaction distance of 77 millimeter, and the closest subject must be further than 2 meters, I think, if I recall correctly. and sometimes people don't follow that. And on top of that, sometimes they use the flash, and with the flash you have different shadows, so the two views are very vastly different sometimes, so it's very hard to get a good depth map. And what I want to say, is if the baseline, the distance between the lens is too large, sometimes it's hard to get a depth map because the left and right views are quite different. So it's much easier to get a depth map from a cell phone, which has probably an interaxial distance of less than an inch. It's much easier to get a depth map using a phone than using a Fuji W3, for instance. So keep that in mind. What else? Oh, that's about it. I mean, if you have problems with getting good depth maps from your stereo pair, well, talk to me and send me your stereo pair, and I'll look into it. So if you like this kind of video, please like, comment, subscribe, and I'll keep making them, I think. Until then, see you around. Bye bye.